Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Chapter 17. Parikshit arrests Kali. Parikshit encounters Bhumi and Dharma as they are being assailed by Kali, whom he subdues. Besieged by Kali, the king spares him but restricts the areas where he may reside. Soon after Dharma and Bhumi's conversation, Parikshit entered that region. From a distance, he saw a man of blackish complexion, dressed like a king, beating the celestial cow and bull with a stick. As he came closer, he saw that the bull was terrified and the cow was crying. Parikshit at once drew his sword and shouted, "Stop, you wretch! You dress like a king, but you act like the lowest of men. How dare you impersonate the royal order and assail helpless creatures under my care? Do you think because Krishna and Arjuna are gone, you can indulge freely in such sin? I am here to check you. Death is the fitting punishment for this vile act." The assailant shrank back from Parikshit, who raised his great sword in readiness to cut him down. Keeping the man in check, Parikshit tried to establish how such a heinous crime had occurred in his kingdom. Turning to the bull, he inquired, "Are you really a bull, or are you a god who has come to foretell the future sufferings of cows and bulls? Never before have I seen anyone who lives under the jurisdiction of Kuru kings grieve due to lack of protector." Parikshit glowered at the cowering aggressor. How had he been able to commit such an outrage? It was an unimaginable transgression in a Kuru kingdom. He turned back to Dharma. "O noble bull, give up your dejection. I will ensure your safety." Parikshit then reassured Bhumi, "Dear mother cow, as long as I rule this land, there is no cause for you to cry. Everything will be auspicious for you." Parikshit assured them both their attacker would be punished. A king's prime duty is to protect his citizens from suffering at the hands of criminals. If I fail in this duty, my reputation, prosperity, and fate in the afterlife will all be jeopardized. Therefore, I will kill this monstrous wretch because he has afflicted needless violence on you. Addressing the bull, Parikshit asked, "Who is this vile man who has caused you so much suffering? Do you know his name or where he comes from? In the state of the king's obedient to God's laws, there's surely no one suffering as you are now. Indeed, until now, no one has shed tears as a result of royal negligence. O bull, I wish you all good. Please identify this villain whose crimes blacken the reputation of my illustrious forefathers." Looking toward Kali, the king's tone became menacing. "Whoever causes innocent living beings to suffer must fear me anywhere and everywhere. Any upstart who commits offenses by torturing others shall be uprooted, even if he is a denizen of heaven with armor and decorations. The king's supreme duty is to protect law-abiding persons and chastise miscreants." Dharma replied, "Your words surely befit a descendant of the Pandavas. Captivated by their love and devotion, Lord Krishna himself served as their messenger. What then could they not achieve?" Somebody likes to take over from here?
Okay, I'll read. Parikshit kept his sword raised over the cowering Kali as Dharma answered the king's question. "O mighty hero, it is difficult to know who is to blame for my condition, for I am confused by various philosophical views. Some maintain we suffer due to our sins, while others contend that nature brings about all miseries as a matter of course. Some say the self is entirely to blame, and others say there are greater powers at work. Still others suggest it is never possible to know the cause of distress, no matter how hard we try. Please ponder it with your own intelligence, great king, and do what you think is right. Impressed by this reply, Parikshit respectfully inquired, "Who are you? You cannot be an ordinary bull, as you understand the deep truths of religion. One who considers another cause of his suffering is as much in illusion as one who inflicts suffering on others. I think you must be the personality of religion, dharma, for no one else could be so sagacious." After deducing the bull's true identity, Parikshit could understand the significance of his three broken legs. He said formally, "In the golden age of Satya, your four legs were established by the four principles of austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. It appears that three of your legs were broken over time due to rampant irreligion in the form of pride, lust, and intoxication. You are now standing on only the leg of truthfulness." Parikshit glared at the bull's assailant. This must be Kali, who personifies quarrel and hypocrisy, and under whom deceit flourishing. It appears he wants to destroy truthfulness, the last leg of religion. Parikshit looked with concern at the afflicted Dharma. He knew that
Just 1 second. This statement I want to exactly see. One who considers another the cause of suffering is as much an illusion as the one who inflicts suffering on others. This is such an important point. Somehow we forget that, right? We tend to focus so much on the person causing suffering. We usually, it's not easy to think that, oh, this person is causing me suffering because of my karma. It's very difficult. We usually think, oh, why this person is causing me suffering, but we don't usually focus on ourselves. So yeah, that's the nature of dharma. Nothing happens by chance. Nothing happens by chance. But still we may wonder how to be compassionate when things are going on. Like yesterday I was thinking of a particular devotee, so nice and everything, but so many injustice happened to this devotee. And I was thinking, naturally, the heart does feel compassion. Why such a nice devotee has to go through so much difficulties? Why so many things are happening? Why people treat this person so unfairly? And this does come up. So I think this principle is supposed to be used for ourselves. Like, for example, if something happens to me, instead of blaming somebody for causing me that, I should say, it must have been my karma. It's my karma. I know one devotee who's like that. So many things happen and it must have been my karma. Maybe I did something in my previous life and so now I'm experiencing this. It's like, actually, it's a very peacemaking mentality. At the same time, we have to be careful to not take in abuse and keep being in traumatic situations and toxic environments, thinking, oh, it's my karma. And I mean, until and unless there's really something we cannot get out of, and we can create that barrier and that strong wall between our internal and our external. Like I always quote my grandmother, externally she tolerated nonsense. She didn't let it get into her. So this point is, I mean, I don't know. I never heard my grandmother say, it must have been my karma. Not so much she focuses on that. Like she focuses more on, somehow Krishna gave me this situation and it's okay, I'm going to focus on Krishna. She never complained. She never lamented. So I'm sure she must be thinking this point because she's a Bhagavatam follower. She's not so much of a that kind of philosophical preacher. She's more about, okay, faith, and Krishna has a plan, and so it seems like it's not necessary to be highly philosophical to accept this point that we are also in illusion to think that somebody else is the cause of our pain. Okay, so let's continue. So Parikshit knew that. Carry on, anybody? Mm-hmm.
While Krishna has been personally present, all four of his legs had been restored. But now, in the Lord's absence, religion had again deteriorated. Consequently, the earth's burden was increasing. Inspecting the cow carefully, he realized she was booming. She was crying for what awaited her. When lower class men would pose as rulers and abuse her and her children with great sympathy, he pacified Dharma and Bhumi, then turned towards Kali and drew back his sword. Kali shook with fear. Quickly casting off his royal dress, he fell at Parikshit's feet and begged for his life. Spare me, I surrender unto you. Kali knew he had no power over a person fully devoted to Krishna. He caught hold of the king's feet in supplication. Command me, Lord, I am your servant. Parikshit lowered his sword. I cannot kill a surrendered person, but you must leave my kingdom. If you are allowed to pose as a leader or influence other leaders, irreligion will become rampant. Greed, falsehood, robbery, incivility, trickery, misfortune, cheating, quarrel, and vanity will soon abound. Kali bowed his head and spoke imploringly. Where shall I live? Your ruler extends throughout the entire world. You will hurt me down wherever I go. Still I am your subject, and therefore entitled to your protection. Pray grant me a residence. Parikshit examined the trembling Kali. His arrival had surely been by divine arrangement. Sometimes the only way a person can be rectified is by receiving the natural consequences of his foolishness. Kali's influence would doubtlessly cause iniquity amongst the people, but the painful results.
Okay, this is very interesting point here. Sometimes the only way a person can be rectified is by receiving the natural consequence of his foolishness. Wow, let's contemplate on that point. It can either apply to ourselves. I mean, Parikshit is saying this is divine arrangement. It's Krishna's arrangement that Kali is here doing this thing, cannot leave. And sometimes people, like even we make a mistake. Like, for example, let's say it's hard for us to wake up, chant our rounds early in the Brahma Muhurta or something. We may think that there is no consequence, right? But there is a consequence. And they say now either there is pain of discipline or pain of regret. And so sometimes the rectification happens only when we are in the moment of regret. Oh my God, I wasted my time. Oh my God, I did this. And then immediately we don't want to do that anymore. And maybe by some mother or father or somebody coming and telling us every day, wake up, do this, we don't correct ourselves. The rectification doesn't happen. Same thing with others. We may see people hurting us or doing things, losing us, right? Not valuing us enough. We cannot force them to love us. We cannot force them to take care of us. They cannot rectify the person. There's nothing we can do. And the natural consequences would be we become strong. Of course, if we are wise in Sattva Guna, we become strong without their support. Without that bamboo, we learn to swim ourselves. Then when we become independent and they realize that they don't, I mean, we shouldn't focus on that as the goal. The goal should be that we should become Krishna conscious. We should become strong. But that can happen. That sometimes maybe, I mean, for us, there is nobody coming and taking over our kingdom, right? For us, they are smaller instances of daily life, but they are very relevant. The principle here is somebody cannot be rectified by us, and they can only be rectified by receiving the natural consequences of their own foolishness. Yeah, yes, Scarlett, I see your hand up.
Yes, I'm so sorry. I'm very, very, very sick now, but I will try to say my question. Sometimes there are children that they are in the age of 3, 2, 3, 4, and they get abused both sexually, physically, in very, very severely. Do this child has to think this is my karma, so I should just accept it? How can a child understand something about karma?
Yeah, this question I pondered a lot. The point is, there are several factors. It's not only the child's karma. It's also the karma of the parents. It's also the karma of the whatever the community. It's called mass karma. It's called family karma. So there is not only the little baby's karma, because obviously the child has no idea, right, what is happening. We cannot blame the child saying, hey, you did something in your previous life. That's obviously not what we're going to say. That's not the Krishna conscious idea. See, we are all given with free will. We're all given with opportunities to treat people in our life in a certain way. As much as karma makes us do things, we are not the doers, and modes of nature makes us do things. There is the limit to be respectful to people, or take care of people, or abandon people in our lives, how we speak to people. So there's a lot of free will. There may be a tendency, let's say I have a tendency to be rude and harsh when I speak, but then I'm still given with the free will. I cannot use that as an excuse saying, my nature. I remember some people, they say that, in my chart, I am very promiscuous. It's there. My planets are in a situation where it's promiscuous. In my chart, I'm not a very responsible parent. So we cannot use karma as an excuse. What to do? The child had that karma from previous life, because it also becomes our duty, right? Like Parikshit, yes, the only way that can be rectified is by natural consequence, but he's still holding this Kali at the sword's edge and threatening to kill him. You know what I mean? He is still doing his duty to protect the person. So even in our life, if we see somebody who's being abused, especially children, we must do what we can, which is in our circle of power, our circle of influence. We cannot just take on our head everybody's abuse story and try to fix it, because forget about abuse story. If somebody is like making a business mistake or building a house in a wrong way, you cannot interfere, because their karma is manifesting through that. My astrology teacher often says that somebody comes to you and you give them good advice, but they don't want to take it. It's their karma. There's nothing you can do. Somebody comes to you and you're not able to give like a great advice to them. And then my teacher says, it's their karma. That's what they were deserving to get. So as harsh as karma sounds, as harsh as dharma sounds, sometimes there is that reality. Yes, we don't know what we did and something has to happen. Like one example I'll give you. One of my friend's son, he has a very prideful nature. He's a very ambitious person who depends very much on status and all that. Okay, that's his karma, is his nature. Somehow or another, the father was abusive since childhood. Like he would beat the child and things like that. And the child still was having difficulty, right? Why my father is not like this other leader? Why my father is not influential like this other person? Why my father is not Brahminical and nice like this other person? So he's often humbled. Right now he's like 19 years old. He's humbled looking at situations around him and figuring out that his father is not a special person that he can cling to and take shelter of. Actually, he has memories of his father being not nice to his mother, not nice to him. And as much as he struggled over the teenage years, feeling not belonging, feeling a sense of confusion about that, but he's able to realize that this lesson, his father came in this way because he has this karma. He did something in his previous life to his father by neglecting and putting him in an old age home and not being not careful and being neglectful, not being sweet, but being harsh. And then in this life, he's not getting what he believes is shelter, what he believes is success, to have a successful father, to have the father and mother together. This was his pride, to take pride in these things. But somehow Krishna has put him in this humble position that he cannot anymore take shelter of that. He cannot anymore. Yes, as much as it's psychologically important. I mean, I know this kid very well since he's a baby, so I know his nature. He was always attracted to influential people. He was always, his fantasy was his father should be influential so that he can get benefits. His father should be well respected in the community so he can enjoy that kind of treatment. But this kid doesn't have it. And I can actually see that as much as we may say, oh, so sorry that the father was not nice, I could see how that is becoming a catalyst for him to stand on his own leg, learn to be more respectful. He's learning everything he shouldn't be by watching the father. So as much as he may want wealth and power and position for his family, he's been given the lessons of humility and to stand on his own leg and learn what not to do and not to be. So I found that to be a very good example of children going through something, but then later when they're adults, if they're wise, they're realizing why that happened and what is my lesson in it. So yes, eventually those kids, when they grow up, they will learn what their lesson was. Even Bhakti Tirtha Swami, he had a very abusive father. And so Bhakti Tirtha Swami would say that he learned from his father how not to be. He learned from his father what it means to not be a gentleman. And so, yes, we cannot take karma as an excuse. At the same time, we need to understand that there's a purpose. There is a purpose behind whatever karma that we are carrying. And it's not just that, see, Krishna is not interested in punishing us. It's not his point. Krishna is interested in our growth. Krishna is giving us circumstances so we can grow, so we can let go, so we can go closer to him. And if we are wise, we will take advantage of our karma. Like Kunti, Yudhishthir, or Parikshit, we will see. They took advantage of that curse, right? He didn't sit there lamenting, oh, I'm such a good king. If I go away, what will happen? How can I be cursed? He didn't get lost in that. Oh my God, I don't have anybody to rule the dynasty. What is going to happen? He didn't think like that. So the point is, it's such a hard thing. And I'm saying it from my intellect, deep in my psychology, psyche. I'm also struggling to come to that point of taking responsibility for my life. Taking responsibility. Okay, is that helpful?
Very much helpful.
Thank you.
Scarlett, is that okay?
It's okay. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, this is a whole class, we are just touching upon some points here.
Mataji,
okay.
Mataji, that
Yeah.
means whatever situation we face, which is not up to our own desire, with whoever, whatever might be the relationship, that means that is for our growth, right?
Generally, yes.
Okay.
Because sometimes it may be that we need the courage to leave that place as well, and to walk away is also a solution. It's not a black and white answer.
Okay.
Sometimes it may be that you don't need to be around people. Like, for example, if you're around people who have bad habits, smoking, drinking, and you're feeling disgusted and suffocated with being around them, you cannot think, oh, it's my karma, I have to be here. Maybe the what you need to learn is assertiveness and say, hey guys, I'm going to the temple and smell agarbatti instead of your smoking, goodbye. So it depends on what is the lesson. It's not always tolerating, is not the lesson. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, Mataji. Okay, got it.
Okay, somebody likes to take over from here. Kali's
Thank you.
influence would obviously cause.
Okay. Kali's influence would doubtlessly cause iniquity amongst the people, but the painful results would eventually bring them to their senses. The king also knew the age of Kali provided a unique opportunity for conditioned souls to return to the spiritual world simply by chanting the Lord's holy name. Only those too foolish to take this process would fall victim to Kali's sway. Parikshit said, "You may reside in those places where gambling, intoxication, prostitution, and animal slaughter are found." Kali looked dejected. Where in Parikshit's kingdom, which encompassed the entire world, would he find such activities? He begged for somewhere else where he might stay. Parikshit relented. "Very well, you may also live wherever gold is hoarded." Kali thanked the king. Now he had a place to go. Many places. Gold was greatly coveted throughout the world. Wherever gold was stored, it created a fertile situation for envy, enmity, and other forms of sin to proliferate. Satisfied, Kali backed away from Parikshit and disappeared. When Kali had gone, Parikshit carefully tended to Dharma, again restoring his four legs. The king felt confident that while he ruled, Kali would not again attack virtue. Even if he influenced the minds of the less intelligent, Parikshit would ensure they would not be able to follow Kali's dictates. The powerful king vigilantly ruled the world with justice and compassion, ensuring that pity flourished.
Right. Thank you. So before this Parikshit cursed, let's pause here about where Kali resides and how that is relevant for us. Obviously, these places where gambling, intoxication, prostitution, and animal slaughter are found. That's pretty much everywhere now, because back then that was not so many places. Right now, every street corner in the cities, you find a place of either gambling or intoxication or animal slaughter, etc. So that's why we follow the regulative principles, which is the opposite of these. Means we follow no gambling, no intoxication, no illicit sex, and no meat eating. So that's exactly like counteracting, so that Kali doesn't take over, right? And this is interesting that, as Parikshit was saying, Parikshit's point, sometimes the only way a person can be rectified is by receiving the natural consequences of the foolishness. This is very interesting in terms of the Kali influence, because these people who are smoking, drinking, taking shelter of drugs, taking shelter of wealth in a very like greedy way, etc. It may seem temporarily that they're okay, they're well off, they have properties, and we are struggling. Maybe we don't have whatever it takes to live a life of comfort. But the truth is that greed, I have seen that happening in some of my families who try to take away property of my grandfather. And then I saw the natural consequence of that mentality of greed leading them to a life of unfulfillment at the end. I have seen some workers around who try to come and cheat, try to sell things which were broken, which were bad quality, which were secondhand, and then, giving gas supply, which was half full, it was not full. So they were trying, right? But then their own vices, their own, they dug their own grave, so to speak. What is like 200 times this guy gives fills a half cylinder? It's not a great loss for the person who bought the cylinder. Yeah, you may feel bad that, oh, this guy cheated us. But to the guy, that it's like a never-ending thing, that mentality, it makes the person sick, the guilt and the shame. Of course, some people don't have guilt and shame, but that it will get transferred in other forms. And I saw these people going down. I saw these people, at one point, this guy was so desperate, he was trying to steal some motor or something, and then he got arrested and went to prison. So things like that. When once Kali enters, when we say gold, it means greed. Maybe we are already given with enough, and we are thinking to accumulate more. So that kind of mentality leads us, what it says here, wherever gold is stored, it created a fertile situation for envy. See, when we show off our wealth, people become envious. If we have a fancy car, fancy bike, we are attracting envy and enmity. And we do not recognize it, but people are feeling it. And they say drishti, we say nazar also. In Hindi, we say nazar. So people's evil eye it affects us. So that's why we should try to live humbly. Even if we have money, better to invest in charity work, better to, if you want to even go vacation, go in a discreet way, not to make a show. This is something that changed my life. Some few years ago, I decided to, actually, even I was never posting, say, personal pictures of, oh, I went to this country, I had this meal, I went to visit this great place. I wasn't doing those kind of things, but some years ago, I realized that it can be very serious. We really receive the energy of envy when we posting like super happy pictures and super happy enjoyment pictures, vacation pictures, etc. It attracts envy, and people are not aware of this kind of things. They're oblivious to this. One thing is to send it to people who really care about you, who you consider as a family. So gold is not necessarily only wealth. It can be great experiences that we have, and we may just store it and show it off. It can be done in the mode of passion. Anything, any wealth that we have. So we have to be careful to speak about our opulences to people who may envy us. And we must be careful to give charity so that, we don't carry this burden. So there has to be that mood of giving more, giving away more. It's a secret, actually. Whatever you give will come back tenfold. It's a known secret. Any question on this topic?
It is a wonderful topic, Mataji. I have a question. Suppose you said, okay, whenever we post pictures that we are happy or we are in an abundant situation, we actually attract the negative energies, evil eyes. So Mataji, suppose we are contented within ourselves, we are really happy, maybe not because of the gold, not because of the money I have, but we are happy, we are contented whatever we have. So it will come automatically on my face, on my lifestyle, and even on the pictures too. Then how should we hide them?
See, whatever we do, we try to think of the purpose behind why we are doing something. I mean, nowadays, the trend and the culture is all about selfies. People just post themselves all the time, right? It's kind of like an obsession, posting yourself out there. But we have to think of the purpose. What's the purpose of my social media posts? Am I helping somebody? What is the point? Why we are trying to put ourselves out there? Is it a service you're offering? Is it a class that you're giving and you like people to benefit? Or is it a quote that you want to share that people can benefit? Is it a video you want to make that you can share some knowledge you've learned? So we have to be clear about the purpose. If we are clear about the purpose, then we will not engage in frivolous activities and attract envy. Okay.
Clear,
Okay.
Mataji. Clear.
Yeah.
Thank you. Haribol.
I mean, we cannot see, or any envy will always be there. People will always, whoever has less than us will envy us. but we shouldn't waste our energies in creating that kind of environments and feeding off them, because people think they get some high from posting on social media and getting likes and whatever, but it also creates envy. And these things are real, it's not just some myth. We may get blessings also with of some people, but we also attract envy. So yeah, even some people, even with your clothing or bike or something, cars, people envy when they look at something we don't have. I mean, don't we envy? Don't we envy people who have bigger houses? Don't we envy people who maybe visit pilgrim places more than us? Don't we envy people who don't have to work jobs like us? Don't we envy somebody who has a perfect family, cute kids, and they're all looking so nice together? And don't we envy? Similarly, the envy it's a natural thing.
Okay, Mataji.
But like I understand this point, what you are saying, but I've seen my children, they will not even take a second posting. Whatever they see, what they are doing, they post. I tell them, but they'll mind why my mother is saying like this. My daughter-in-law, she starts posting for every small thing on the social media, on Facebook,
Yeah. Yeah, it's a trend. Look, this is again the thing here. The
Not
person
even
can only be rectified because people are suffering. Social media posts are making people depressed. It's making people, purposeless, meaningless. It's making them addicted. It's making them feel a sense of lack of self-worth. And, morning they're waking up comparing how many likes did I get on my post. So there's only one way, the natural consequences only can teach them. We cannot change people. We cannot tell our students or our children, don't do something.
this is what I was. I cannot, like, if say for every small thing she's saying like not to post or it's not good, people watch. That is the thing. I was also mentioning. Yeah, I was thinking. You're right.
I mean, then alternatively, like for example, okay, I'm a preacher and I'm often on social media. I'm often on YouTube, right? I'm putting myself out there, and it is a big risk because I am giving out my energy, and of course a lot of people are envious, jealous, like that. Okay, even among devotees, if my classes gets more views, there is envy. You understand? It's naturally there, but the remedy is to chant more. The remedy is to do certain, like I do certain mantras to protect myself, Nashingadev mantras, so that I can be protected to do the service. So there has to be a conscious effort. So you can do some chanting on their behalf so they can be protected.
Thank you.
So let us make our strong affirmation, prayer, meditation. After reading this beautiful chapter where Parikshit Maharaj is displaying leadership qualities, Parikshit Maharaj is not hesitating to punish Kali, whose atrocious behavior of harming the cow and the bull has come to the attention of Parikshit Maharaj. Similarly, our life with Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, we are also guided towards the right direction. We are also working on editing our life ruthlessly after studying the chapter of Dhritarashtra and Vidura's conversation. Personally, for me, this chapter really pushed me to change certain habits that has created more space for me. It has given me more freedom, and it is helping me to take responsibility for my life, for my time. And as we study in Kunti Devi's prayers, to not get stuck on the trauma, to not get stuck on the negativity, but to move past it, to keep moving further, to not depend on others, to not get bewildered by the temporariness of this world. And just like Parikshit Maharaj, we also stay in the position of doing our duty to the best possible ability and be careful about Kali's influence in our lives. Kali Yuga is degrading. Degradation is very easy. To slide down a path is very easy. To climb up is very difficult. So we need good association. We need discipline. We need hard work so that we stay afloat. So we learn to swim across this ocean of material desires.
Mataji, I have a question.
I am not done.
Okay, sorry.
So thinking about the influences of Kali, thinking about Parikshit Maharaj trying to chastise him, we need to protect ourselves from the attacks of Kali by taking shelter of Guru, by taking shelter of Vaishnavas, by taking shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam, by taking shelter of the holy name, by taking shelter of the holy Dham. We do our best. So today let us affirm to shield ourselves from the influences of Kali and to allow the good energy to flow through us. Take shelter of Tulsi Maharani, taking shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam, taking shelter of the holy name, and to shield ourselves from all negativities. Let us affirm that we willingly want to dedicate our lives in Krishna's service. And we want all the obstacles to be removed from our path so we can progress towards happiness and bliss. And may Krishna give us the strength to not succumb to the weaknesses of this age of Kali. May we be nurtured by the bhakti that we are given with. May the bhakti lata bij flourish into a tree of devotion. Thank you very much. Now, we will do affirmations. Each of you can state your affirmation. What is it that you would like to affirm for yourself today? And Rajshri, we can take the question in the end. Thank you. Ashka, this is her affirmation. Hare Krishna, I'm letting unnecessary attachments, letting go of need of controlling my life always, and trust in Krishna's plan. Yes, may Krishna give you the strength to do that. Let us all pray in this way. Thank you.
I would like to affirm that by my previous shameful life, my heart is polluted with many illusionary obstacles and anarthas. So I have to tolerate it and remain enthusiastically determined in this service of Krishna consciousness. Thank you.
Jai. Yes. Yes. May Krishna give you the strength to do that. And we shall all learn from this as well. My affirmation for today is, my dear Lord, give me the strength to edit my life ruthlessly, to take advantage of the space that I have to develop myself, to develop my skills, and to be humble and to not think that I need things my way. May Krishna's will and not mine be done. Rajshri, you want to do your affirmation?
Yeah, I have written.
Oh, yes. Hare Krishna, I will allow Krishna to take over my anger, all emotions, helping me to remain in peace always. Yes. May Krishna give you the strength to do that. We shall all pray for that control over our anarthas. Krishna can do it. Scarlett, would you like to affirm your...
I'm so sorry.
desires?
Next time.
Yes,
I'm
no
so
problem.
sorry. I will do it
No.
next time.
Yes, yes. Thank
Thank
you. Thank you for coming today. So thank you very much, my dear friends. This reading is our guiding light. Bhagavatam gives us the light. So see you tomorrow.
Thank you
Mataji,
so
can I ask the question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Mataji, when we pray, when we know some energy that is very negative towards us, maybe we avoid the energy, but suppose that person has fallen sick ruthlessly in front of us and we are praying by touching her. So do we absorb the negative energy from that personality once we start praying for that person
No,
deeply?
no, no, you don't. It doesn't work like that. If you try to control that person's life and you're taking decisions for them, then yes. But if you're praying, no.
Maybe by touching them we are praying.
No, it doesn't work like that. That's all karma
Okay.
kanda thing. When you hand it over to Nrsingadev, Krishna like that, you're not getting any karma.
Okay. Okay, Mataji. Thank you.
All right. Take care of yourselves. Be positive. Remember, Krishna is with you. See you tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
you very much for today.
Radhe Radhe. Hare Krishna. Have a blessed day, everyone.
Hare Krishna.